Is it real, is it really fair? When I still feel, man, I care. With this free thought when I stare, oversee life living with a tears.
Hi, welcome back to Scentuality. If you want to know how to make perfume at home, stay tuned. That's what I'm going to talk about in this video. I have made a video previously just outlining the process, but in this video I hope to give a little bit more information, a little bit more detail. So for instance, in the last video I didn't talk about the different oils that you use when you make perfume. I just basically talked about oils. So if you would like a little bit more information, just to give you a little bit more clarity, then please stay tuned and I will reveal all. The basics first. What are the things that you need when you are planning on making perfume at home? So very simply, what you need is some ethanol, and you need it to be a 96% purity. Basically, perfume is scented ethanol, so you are basically mixing some oils together which form the basis of your perfume, and then you are adding it to ethanol and you are then spraying it on your skin. And that's essentially what perfume is. Next, you're going to need the relevant scales with a 0.001 gram accuracy. Now, you can get scales that are used to wear jewelry, gems, that kind of thing. And to be honest, that's what I've been using. But they're not the most precise scales. Whatever you wear, it will, change a few increments, within a few seconds. So they're not, really accurate. So I would suggest that you get some better scales. I've been using these scales for a long time. I know that it's not the most accurate thing in the world, but I'm just making perfume for myself and I'm just making it at home, so it's not incredibly important. In the beginning anyway, you're probably just going to be using drops, and all of the formulas that I give on my YouTube channel, they are all in drops, so you don't even need scales. Scales are just something if you really want to be more accurate. If you, make a formula that you really like and you've weighed each oil as you've administered it to your blending beaker, then, if that's a fantastic perfume, just let's say one day you sold your formula, then you have your formula precisely how it was when you made it and you loved it. So that's basically what it's for, but not really necessary in the beginning. But yeah, basically you're going to need some scales with a 0.001 gram accuracy. You're also going to need some plastic pipettes. Now, when you administer oils to your blending beaker, you need to use plastic pipettes because you want to avoid cross-contamination of other oils. So you're not going to use one pipette and use it for every oil that you blend together. However, beginners do tend to use a glass pipette, which they rinse in ethanol in between each use. So let's just say I had some Nagamotha and I added some to my blending beaker. Then I dipped my my glass pipette, in some ethanol, and I rinsed it out thoroughly, got rid of the smell, etc. And then I placed it into a pot of parsley oil, let's say, and then I administered that parsley oil to the blending beaker. Now, I've done this a lot, and it's up for debate as to whether or not this is a good idea. I guess there's always the chance that you are cross-contaminating your oils, but in order to get started in perfumery, I believe in making it as accessible as possible. So for me, this is perfectly acceptable. I would presume that in the beginning your oils don't cost very much money. They're not going to be the most expensive oils you can buy, and certainly when I started making perfume, and even now, I don't use expensive oils. I make perfume within my own budget. I don't have anything that's luxurious or incredibly expensive. I basically made perfumery accessible to myself, and that's going to vary between person to person. So yeah, you could use plastic pipettes, you can use a glass pipette, but you really need to be aware of what you're doing and take responsibility for it. I'm not telling you to use a glass pipette, I'm telling you to use plastic pipettes. You take one plastic pipette per oil, and then you throw that plastic pipette away after you've finished using it for that one oil. Some other people take these plastic pipettes and then they sellotape them to their bottles. You could also do this. I think this, you know, it introduces some problems with storing your bottles, because then obviously you're going to need more space because a dropper is quite large. But if this is something you want to do, you can do that. If you buy oils from somewhere like Perfumer's World, you always get an individual glass pipette with every bottle, which is very, very handy. However, I do have an issue with the quality of their droppers, but that's another story. But yeah, basically that's what you need to know about pipettes. Now, you're also going to need some 10 milliliter amber bottles. They're very useful. They're useful because in perfumery you dilute a lot of oils, so you would then take a percentage of an oil and you would put it into a new amber bottle, 10 milliliter amber bottle, and then you would add some ethanol or some DPG or another solvent. So they're very useful for that purpose, but also if you're blending a perfume together, I often use a 10 milliliter amber bottle and I put all my oils in there, and that's basically what I use them for. Perfumer's World do sell these little plastic beakers. They are extremely good for blending materials together, and that's exactly what they are marketed for. And yeah, I do thoroughly recommend them, but you could use anything similar, to be honest. I think it's always important to test if it's plastic, for instance, because plastic tends to absorb the smell and it's very hard to get the smell out of plastic. But with these beakers from Perfumer's World, if you put them in the dishwasher, all the scent gets removed. But yeah, you can use something similar. You can use a glass beaker or anything really that works. You're going to need some scent strips. I say need, you don't necessarily need them, not in the beginning, but you are going to need something that's going to absorb some of the perfume that you're blending together, so then you can wipe it on your skin and test out you know, how it works on your skin. Later down the line you can get some scent strips and you can, you know, spray your finished perfume on them, and then you can really appreciate all the notes. You can really study the fragrance that you've made. However, it's not the same as if you put it on your skin, because it's completely different, because it mixes with the chemistry of the individual body. So yeah, scent strips can be really good to analyze your fragrance in a standalone way that's void of any kind of chemistry, so it's unadulterated basically. So let's talk about the different oils that you use when you're making a perfume. We're going to just go over the different types of oils, the most common oils that you will be buying. So basically, you're going to come across what's called a CO2, and this is when supercritical carbon dioxide is used to extract oil from plant material. Essential oils are obtained by steam distillation. An absolute uses hexane to subtract oils. A tincture is when you soak something which has a smell in ethanol, so typically plant material. If you add some cardamom pods and you put them in a jar of ethanol and you wait a month, 2 months, then the ethanol will have taken on the smell of those cardamom pods. That's basically what a tincture is. Aroma chemicals are synthetic molecules that have been synthesized in a laboratory, not to be confused with fragrance oils. You do not use fragrance oils in perfumery. Aroma chemicals are used in the production of cosmetics, and they're also used as flavorings in the food industry. So if you go to the Good Sense Company's website and you look up a molecule, an aroma chemical, it will tell you what it smells like, but it will also tell you what it tastes like, because they're also used in the food industry. A perfume oil is an accord, which is a mixture of naturals and synthetics, and together they create the smell of something in nature, like flowers or different types of woods, for instance. A resinoid basically refers to things like balsams, like Peru balsam, benzoin, etc. It also refers to animal secretions like ambergris, castoreum, musk, civet, etc., as well as things like frankincense. So let's talk about these oils now. Basically, a perfume, as I said, is scented ethanol. Now, in order to get the scent part, you need to blend oils together. So you're blending the CO2s, the essential oils, the absolutes, the resinoids, the tinctures, the aroma chemicals, and the perfume oils. You're blending them together to make a full perfume. Now, I don't really make perfume with ratios. I believe if it works, it works. And I like to use my intuition, and I like to start making a perfume, and I like it to develop as I'm going. I don't really plan things out that much. So I'm not going to tell you to use any specific types of ratios. All I'm going to say is, personally, I make things that tend to have more base notes, and then it'll be the heart, and then it'll be the top, and then the top I'll have the least. But I have made perfumes where I've had pretty much an equal ratio between everything. I'm not saying that's always going to work. I'm just saying I approach every perfume differently, and so I don't have like a set way of going about things. But what you need to understand is basically how these oils behave together, and that will help you understand how to use them. Now, there is part of this you're going to have to just figure out yourself by blending oils together and studying how they behave. But the thing that you need to know, that I can tell you now, is that each oil comes under a certain category. Some oils are base notes, some oils are heart notes, and some oils are top notes. And you don't decide what is a heart note, what is a top note, what is a base note. This is all decided by how long they last in the perfume, so how quickly they evaporate from the skin. A base note lasts for the longest time. The heart note lasts a little bit less than the base note, but still for a decent amount of time. And then the top note, they are the most volatile oils, and they last for the least amount of time. So you're talking about 10 to 30 minutes of smelling the top notes, and then they are going to dissipate, and what you're going to be left with is the heart and the base. And the heart is going to disappear, and then in the dry down you're basically going to just have the base notes. Now, when you're making a perfume, due to alchemy, it is possible to make a top note last the entire perfume, and so you can smell it in the dry down. It is when you make something really linear and the alchemy is there, because for me the greatest perfumes are perfumes where they're so linear that everything just goes at the same amount of time. Everything has the same speed, and it's so slow, so gradual, that you can't really detect any breaking points in the perfume. And these perfumes, you can generally smell all of the notes from the beginning to the end of the perfume. So this is sort of like what I aim for when I make a perfume. But yeah, just bear that in mind, and you can't decide what is a base note, what is a heart note, what is a top note. It's already decided. Base notes tend to be things like, all of your woods, mosses. You've got sandalwood, you've got cedar, you've got oak moss, you've got your resins, you've got frankincense, you've got opoponax, you've got labdanum, all of these types of things. When it comes to molecules, it's a little bit different, because you can say you've got an essential oil and it's a base note. It is possible to get molecules that replicate this smell, but that cover the heart or cover the top even. So it's a little bit different when it comes to aroma chemicals, because they are synthesized in a lab, they aren't natural, and there's a little bit more creativity there with them. You can definitely do things that you can't do with naturals alone. But yeah, just bear that in mind when you are actually constructing your perfume. Have that in your mind, and it will help you more to understand that three-tier structure of a perfume. You have the base, you have the heart, and you have the top. Now, heart notes, they generally are your florals, and you get some spices in there as well. And the top notes are basically your citrus oils. And as I said, they are fleeting. They last for the least amount of time. You also get some herbs there as well. Lavender can be a top note. Mint, for instance, spearmint, peppermint, they are in the top. But yeah, basically, in a nutshell, that's the difference between the oils. Now, when you're using these oils, sometimes you use them in 100% dilution, but sometimes the oils are used in a different dilution because they are just too strong in their natural state. So it's typical to dilute things down to 10%. If 10% is still too strong, generally you would go to 1%. You can go lower than that. Some oils are so strong that you just cannot use them in perfumery at full strength. They will just dominate your perfume, and it might be hard to imagine, but sometimes you really do have to dilute it down to 1% or less just to have a workable material for making perfume. Other things can be diluted in larger amounts. I have a labdanum resinoid, that's a 45% dilution. I have other things that are 50% dilution, a 35% dilution, and this is also up to you. You can dilute things to wherever you want them to be, basically. It's just another thing that requires you to experiment, to mix oils together, to have your own relationship with your creativity and I guess this art form. But yeah, diluting materials. Now, you use different solvents for diluting things down. There are, you know, different things that you could use. If you go to the Good Sense company website, it's really good if you just look up your oil, and it will tell you there a list of solvents that the oil will dilute in, and also a list of things that are no good for the oil, that the oil just will not dilute in. It will just not mix well with that particular solvent. So it's really helpful just to look at the information available on that website. It's a really good source of information. But yeah, the main ones that you're going to see are DPG and ethanol. You can dilute your materials in ethanol and you can dilute them in DPG. I basically try to dilute everything in DPG if I can, just basically to save the ethanol for perfume. But yeah, basically it's just ethanol and DPG. About 99% of everything that I have diluted is either in ethanol or DPG. So as an example, if you're wanting to dilute something at a 10% dilution, you would just take 1 gram of oil and blend it with 9 grams of ethanol or DPG or whatever else you choose to use, and that will give you a 10% dilution. What I would suggest to get started is to make a perfume that doesn't have a lot of oils involved in its composition, but I would suggest around about 15 oils. I think this is a good number. I think the first perfume I made had around 15 oils, and you can make a nice perfume with 15 oils, and you don't really want to make it any more complicated than that in the beginning, because it can be quite frustrating if you're just trying to blend lots of things together without really knowing your materials, because you just tend to end up with a soup, and it's not a very nice soup. You just end up with a big mess, basically. But I do actually have a perfume, the Jasmine and Palmarosa perfume. It's in one of the videos that I put up, and the formula is in there. It's really simple. It's just 15 oils, and the oils aren't difficult to get. In fact, you can buy all of those oils from the Perfumer's World, for instance. That's just the only website I looked them up on. But yeah, not hard to obtain these oils, not expensive oils. So this is just a suggestion if you wanted a formula to make something that's already been made before, just so you can kind of understand what it is you're after, or you know, the potential that's there. It's by no way a masterpiece. It's just a simple perfume that works. It's a feminine perfume, but yeah, for educational purposes you could make it, no problem. These oils are going to be oils that you're going to want and need anyway, so you can make that if you like. Actually that just has 12 oils now I come to think of it. So yeah, 12 oils, but yeah, I would just set a limit at 15 maybe. I've spoke before about maturing your blend, and I think this is just really, it comes down to the person who's making the perfume. And I think every perfume is different. Every perfume behaves differently. There's different alchemy going on there. There's definitely occasions where I've made something and I haven't liked it, and I've really wanted to like it because I like the idea behind it. I like I always feel like, oh, there's potential here, but there's some really harsh notes. There's some things maybe I wouldn't have put in there looking back in hindsight. But sometimes if you just leave that perfume formula for a week or two or more, and you go back and you smell it, sometimes you can be pleasantly surprised, and it can just smell divine. It can smell, you know, exactly what you wanted to achieve could just reveal itself, because the perfume's had time for those harsher notes just to mellow out. And yeah, sometimes leaving your perfume for a long time is a great thing, but on other occasions I feel like it doesn't really help the perfume. There are occasions where the perfume goes to a place that possibly you don't like. So if you like your perfume when you make it and you test it on your skin, I think it's perfectly acceptable to then just put that straight into ethanol. There are definitely people who do this. I do it mostly, really. I don't really, you know, leave perfumes for a long amount of time. As I say, if I've made something and I'm not 100% happy with it, I will leave it for a few weeks rather than just disposing of it instantly. So I would recommend that as well. Just keep things for a few weeks, smell them again. If you really don't like them, then throw them away. Or you could try blending them together just to see what happens before you throw them away. I also find this to be a good exercise. Sometimes you can be really surprised by the results that you get from this. But yeah, as I said, it depends on person to person. You could mature it for a couple of days, a couple of weeks, a month. You could put it in ethanol straight away. I would just suggest that you experiment with everything. Just find the answers yourself through doing. And then basically maceration, when you then take your perfume blend and then you want to mix it with the ethanol, that again is another process which just comes down to the individual. You know, I have also different feelings about this. I think that definitely if you leave your blend in the ethanol for a longer period of time, say 3 months, I definitely do notice that the smell becomes finer. It has a higher quality to it than it does when you first mix it. If you just mix your perfume oils into your ethanol and you smell it straight away, it's going to smell very thin. You're going to get the ethanol. The perfume, the ethanol has not had time to absorb the scent from the oils yet. If you try it again in a couple of days, it will smell better, but generally the longer you leave it, 2 to 3 months, I recommend, it's going to smell beautiful. But you definitely don't need to wait that long, and I don't really. I just noticed that once it's been sitting there for 3 months, it smells a lot better than what it did in the beginning. So as I said, it depends on you. I implore you to experiment yourself, figure out what perfumery is to you, figure out your own methods. You don't need to worry about following a set regime, doing what somebody else does. It's creativity at the end of the day, and that's a very personal thing. You be creative in your own way. If it works, it works. I'm not going to sit here and tell you not to do something. I want you to do what you want to do. So yeah, with regards to ratios, basically, there are different strengths. They have different names: an eau de toilette, a cologne, an eau de parfum. These are all like a set concentration. They basically, if you start off at a cologne, that has the lowest concentration of oils. This is purely because it's going on your face. And essential oils, for instance, aren't kind to your skin. So I would actually, just as a side note as well, when you're testing perfume, I will say that there's only the part on my hand where oils seem to treat my skin respectfully, is just this part of my thumb on the underside of my hand. Anywhere else and I just get a big rash. But yeah, so let's say you wanted to make something that was 15%, okay? What you have to do is you need to weigh the oils that you've used in mass for your overall perfume. So a good tip would be to weigh your blending beaker first of all, write down how much that weighs. Then you would add all of your oils to that blending beaker, and then you would weigh it again, and you would make a note of that, and then you would just subtract the first number by the second number, and that will give you the weight of just your oils. Let's say you wanted to put it into a 30 milliliter bottle. Now you just have to do a simple calculation, and you have to divide the weight of your perfume oils by the size of the bottle. So that would be by 30 milliliters. And then the answer to that simple little calculation will tell you what percent your perfume would be if you added those oils to a 30 milliliter bottle. Now sometimes that might give you a higher percentage of oils to ethanol. The ratio will be larger than the 15% that you're after, or in other cases it could be lower. This is just down to the amount of the perfume concentrate, the oils, your perfume oils, as to how much that there is there. So let's say that you didn't have enough of a mass of oils to get a 15% perfume in a 30 milliliter bottle, then you would have to double your formula to make twice as much, and then you would have to do the calculation again. And then let's say after you've doubled it, maybe you might have to triple it. Then you would have it exactly where you want it to be, and you may have some of the perfume left over. That's just the way, you know, to do it at home. But yeah, that's basically all you're doing when you are calculating how much ethanol to put with the oils. And then basically what you want to do is put it into an amber bottle. This is the best practice. Put it in a dark drawer, keep it away from the light, and just mature it for however long you see fit. Now the last thing really is, after you've macerated your perfume in ethanol, you're going to want to then put it into your perfume bottle, the perfume bottle that you want to use. Ultimately you want to use, not the amber bottle, although you could just leave it in the amber bottle if you like. But yeah, what you might find is that when you pour your perfume into that bottle, you might notice that it's cloudy, or you might notice that there are little bits and pieces just floating around in there, and they come from the naturals. So you may need to filter out your perfume, and you just need to use coffee filter paper for this. Best practice is to put that bottle of perfume into the freezer for 1 hour, and then you filter it through coffee paper, and this is the best practice for filtering your perfume. You may have to do this twice, but basically do it until your perfume is clear, and then that's basically it. That's the end of your perfume. I hope this video has been helpful. This is just how to make perfume at home. I just want to make it accessible for you at home. Understand that you're making perfume on a very personal level. You're not making an industrial amount of perfume. You're making it for yourself. You're making it for your loved ones to give a gift. That's basically what you're doing. This is really all you need to know to enable you to make perfume at home. Now, making a perfume that you buy in the store is possible. It really is. It's just going to take some time just to get to know your materials, make a lot of different types of perfumes. You won't like everything, but you will definitely learn from every perfume you make, and you can, you know, stumble across some fantastic perfumes that you really love, that you can't buy in the store, that will be completely unique to you, that you will be the only person wearing that perfume. And sometimes, you know, that's a really great feeling to have so much power in yourself, to be able to create your own smell, to be able to create your own mood, to not go to the store to buy it, but to make it yourself in the comfort of your own home, and to make it how you would want it to be. because perfumes are obviously produced on an industrial scale for the masses. So they are made to please the masses. They aren't made to please you personally. So that's the great thing about making perfume at home, the greatest thing, I think. So yeah, I hope this video has been helpful. You could watch the earlier video, watch them together. I think from both of those videos you will be well prepared for making perfume at home. So as always, thank you very much for watching. I really hope that you can take something away from this video. I have enjoyed making it. I'm really happy to be making videos again. I'll try and get the next one out a little bit quicker. But yeah, I still got my hands full with my daughter. But yeah, I hope you have fun making perfume. Have a nice day, and I'll see you next time.